Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ancestor 32. Let's carry on where we left off. This trial has been a roller coaster so far, trying to figure out even if the experiment was a success in the first place. Turns out it may have been, given that Asmon has transported himself into the Crystal Tower from the stage, but nothing has been more tumultuous than trying to figure out Mr. Loon's nationality. We eventually have settled on Italian, I think, so going forward we're going to give him the Italian voice, and given how well my French accent's been, you can only imagine how I'm going to sound when I have to read out Mr. Loon's lines. And don't get me started on our good German friend here as well. That was terrible, but I'm just doing my best. I'm only one man. I'm not even from Europe, so, you know, all I can do is my best. Here we go. Mr. Loon's balloons. Or Lune. I'm going to say Loon, just simply because it rhymes with balloon. As I said, Balthazar Loon is no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All three of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an explosion, what a catastrophe. But you can't get away from the fact that a burnt-up bit of cloth was found at the scene, can ya? The coppers at the yard reckon it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage. This stupido ragazzo is mistaken. My balloons have the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway. Okay, well, he's very adamant that his balloons did not explode. So your assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you? Si, exactamente. If he even saw a balloon in the first place. I do not like the sound of it. It is very bad for business. I have a good mind to sue the land of Bohemia. Oh, God. If you attack us, we will fight back. It will be war! All out war! Well, and just like that, peace has been restored. What happened to all-out war? Or vor? Mr. Loon certainly doesn't appear to be lying. That doesn't change the fact that the testimony and evidence are contradictory here. If the defense is unable to find fault with the witnesses' statements, the court must consider them the truth. Think long and hard on that, my learned friend. The situation has clearly changed now. I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes. Counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses. Okay. Well, I am inclined to agree. I don't think the balloon belonged to Mr. Loon. It must have been a third party, given its different color scheme. But how to get up there? Who was operating it? You know, it's not everyone could just have a hot air balloon in their backyard ready to fire up when they want to commit a crime. As I said, Balthazar Loon is no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All three of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an explosione, what a catastrophe. I can't get away from the fact that a burnt-up bit of cloth was found at the scene, Kenya. Cops at the yard reckon it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on stage. Well, I don't really know what we're going to present here. Let's start by pressing all the statements. I guess we go from the end and work our way backwards like we usually do.
Hold it!
You mean the color is wrong? Si, senor. I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse. Not anymore. It's blown up. And yet a piece of green cloth was found at the scene. And it's unmistakably from a balloon. Well, I do not know how that can be. Is he nervous because he knows something, or is he nervous because we're accusing him of being responsible for this balloon exploding? For the sake of argument, let's say that a green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened on the day in question. Why not? Yeah, our Bohemian friend literally saw it happen. There have been recreational balloons flights all over Hyde Park operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree. You believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition? Okay, well that's just conjecture. Sheesh, you're telling me to prove stuff. How about you prove that it was from an earlier date? Si, exactamente. As the senor says, it is not from one of my balloons. Clearly, this little ragazzo from Bohemia is mistaken about what he saw. Okay, well there we go. He's angry.
Excuse me.
Of all the statements in the testimony, I feel like this was the right one to have pressed. It's Master Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund Ormstein. I didn't even get what we tried to say. Is something wrong, Master Gotts? It was on the tip of my tongue, I promise. I was getting there, but you interrupted me. Yeah, something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon there. I swear all over Bohemia. Oh god, now my Italian's creeping into my German. Ah! You can speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing. What about this? If you do not have evidence, ragazzo, then I must tell your parents to punish you, eh? Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishments. Evidence? What is this evidence? To give a simple example, young man. A photograph, for instance. Some tangible proof of what you claim. Well, why didn't you say so sooner? I have the photograph here. Good gracious. What? You have a photograph? I had not been up in a balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. I took lots and lots of photographs. Of the Crystal Tower, of the Bohemian exhibit, of the streets of London, of the hot eel cellar, the balloon. And the instantaneous kinesis experiment? Did you take a picture of that? Yeah, one picture. Really? You did take one. Just one, though. But all I wanted was a ride in the balloon. I was not interested in boring experiments. Never mind that. Can you show us that photograph? Of course. And then you will see. You will see that I am not lying. That I really did see a green balloon. Wow. Very green. Well, I see you are all too shocked to speak. Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young man. Yeah, perhaps you cannot see that it was a green balloon from this photograph, but that is not my fault. That is the fault of the stupid person who made the camera. That is one very Bohemian-sounding cry. Oh, thank you, Ryunosuke, for that compliment. Very well, the court will accept this photograph as evidence. Please just stop sobbing. Photograph of the balloon, a photograph taken by Gotts whilst he was riding in a balloon. It shows another balloon that he claims was green and exploded moments after he took this shot. Well, we definitely have to look at it. It's not my fault. It's the fault of the person who made the camera. Right, while he's crying away, what do we have here? We've got something launching from the ground. A piece of debris aimed straight at the balloon, which curiously has no passengers on it. I see Hairbrain down here. I see Asmon there. Is that Asmon? I don't know. Anyone else? I see Giselle Britt. No, I'm just kidding. That's not Giselle Britt. Giselle Britt's already dead. I don't think there's anything else worthy of note in this photograph, but nonetheless, very important we got that. Oh, well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. In any case, when exactly did you take that photograph? Well, it was on the day of the big explosion. You don't say. No fucking shit. How about what time? When I pressed the shutter release, there was this very loud bang. And a hot wind rushed over my face. Huh? That means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred. Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. I could not give the flying fig. Lovely language you've picked up. Okay. As I thought, Mr. Loon's testimony just doesn't quite add up. The young Bohemian boy claims to have seen another fourth balloon, but Mr. Loon vehemently denies the possibility, and it's hard to imagine the man in charge could be mistaken about the number that were in the air. Still, this inconsistency must tell us something, I'm sure. Okay, now that we've got the photo, all three of my balloons were carrying passengers. That would be a good one to present. Right. I was gonna say we could present this one because of the zigzag stripes, but maybe it just doesn't come up in the photo, right? Because of the lack of color. But what is undeniable is that there are no passengers in that balloon. So I think let's present here. All three of your passengers were carrying all three of your balloons were carrying passengers? Doesn't look like it. Unfortunately, the photograph Master Gotts took can't tell us the color of the balloon, but it can tell us something else. Something crucially important. What? It shows that the pictured balloon wasn't carrying any passengers.
Oh, my goodness, you're right. But surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers. There would be no sense in it otherwise.
See, they are for pleasure, for seeing the view. My balloons only fly with passengers. Which tells us that the pictured balloon isn't one of them. So when the incident occurred that day, there was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. The mysterious green balloon. I know nothing, niente. I can only tell you one thing. If this balloon was not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine. Yeah, he's got too much business sense. Oh my god, your hat's about to explode. There are illegal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly, one such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition, and managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Loon's patch without him realizing. See, the competition is trying to steal my profits. Is that why you shut that balloon down? I'm just kidding. I did not notice because of the experimento that went wrong on stage. This fourth balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Asmund was beamed from the stage below. Right. So them scraps that fell to the ground after, and left them scorch marks, they didn't come from the station at all. It was bits of the balloon raining down. Because no one was in it, it didn't get no attention. A mysterious fourth balloon carrying no passengers, silently floating over the experimentation stage.
Objection!
Why? This photograph shows us nothing more. A stray balloon carrying no one and operated by some rogue trader. Clearly it has nothing to do with the case.
Its relevance does elude me, I must say.
The court has seen sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. The prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded. Well, I can see the jury is very invested in this case. Almost as if the Great Exhibition has made its way here. Really? Have we really got to the truth yet? No, I can't let this opportunity slip away. The jurors' minds are made up, and not in our favor. What else can this photograph tell us? Is there nothing more we can learn from it? There's more. There's always more.
Objection!
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait! Put down your newspaper. Please don't give your decisions yet. The photograph from Master Gotts may well be hiding one more vital clue. What's that? A vital clue?
Objection!
Don't listen to this man. He constantly does a summation examination black magic. We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It's time for definitives now. So tell the court. What exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove? The cause of the explosion. We can reasonably assume that the pictured balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion. Yeah, that's right, yeah. It was not my fault. Evidently. Because the birdcage from the kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon, being filled with flammable hydrogen, instantly and explosively ignited.
Objection!
No, that's not what happened. What?
It would appear that this photograph requires closer examination. Counsel for the defense, you will highlight the location of this alleged clue in the photograph for the court.
Of course, my lord. No problem. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see. What's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have. In a way, that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. The clue that heavily suggests the real reason the balloon exploded is... here? Is this good enough? I'm hoping.
Take that!
The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. Yeah, definitely. That's the word I'd use. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to point directly at the balloon. Most likely a ray of light caught incidentally on the film.
I'm afraid I can see nothing of the sort.
Guys! What the hell? If you look with a magnifying glass, my lord, and not just your spectacles, which I guess are outdated, and you need a new prescription, it becomes clear what the nature of this bright line really is.
Goodness, what is that?
Undeniably some flash of light, yes.
Oh, golly. Do you think it might be lightning?
But it couldn't have been a finer day. I believe we may be looking at fire. A bolt of fire, headed straight for the balloon, like an arrow.
Indeed, even to my aging eyes, it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word, are you suggesting this flame struck the hydrogen gas that filled the balloon?
Objection!
That's absurd. The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at the time. No flame could possibly have reached such a height.
Objection!
Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how that is exactly what did happen. What evidence? I thought you were barred from the scene.
If such evidence exists, Counsel, then for goodness sake, present it, man!
I'm getting to it.
Which evidence explains this mysterious streak of flame that appears to be headed directly for the balloon?
The crossbow.
Take that!
This was found hidden at the foot of a small ornamental tree near the scene.
Good lord, is that a crossbow?
An arrow dipped in oil and set alight could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon. Are you suggesting that crossbow was used to deliberately?
Blimey, you're right. That streak of light in the photo looks just like an arrow, didn't it? Then, the explosion of the balloon, it was...
premeditated. Very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow igniting the hydrogen gas inside it. Whew, what a mouthful. No! Oh, damn, Van Zeeks, you're on the back foot here. Struggling to prosecute your friend, I see.
Order, order! Counsel, this is an extraordinary supposition.
If the aim was to cause the balloon to explode, the shooter could have used a gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question. The noise of the discharge, of course. That's right. Oh, God, my neck. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently.
Well, yeah, if someone had shot a gun off the exhibition grounds, it would have caused a real panic. But with the big explosion, there was a very big panic anyway, no?
Yes, but they assumed it was part of the experiment gone wrong. I don't like this. I should be pleased to have found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
Do you understand the implications of what you're saying, my Nipponese friend? If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. And if the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that ensued.
What? Wait a minute. What are you really saying here? I don't get it. Was the birdcage beamed up into the sky after all? Or what?
My goodness me!
Well, at least the judges figured it out. Oh, now I understand. That's what that sickening feeling was about. I think there's a good chance that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along.
What? Did I just hear that correctly, Counsel?
Yeah, you're damn right. There's no going back now. The horse is bolted. Hats over the wall. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hidden inside the green balloon from the start. Bloody hell. Good God. On stage, when the experiment was started, the birdcage and the instantaneous kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. From amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared to fall down and crash into the crystal tower. Guess the experiment was a failure after all. I think you'll all agree it's entirely plausible to hide an entire birdcage inside a hydrogen-filled balloon. that what I've just described is the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day.
This... Good grief!
Good grief indeed.
Objection!
This is ludicrous! What you've described is no science experiment. It's child's play, a contemptible display of stage magic. Maybe it's juror number 3 after all. Both Mr. Sholmes and Iris said that the experiment was a scientific impossibility. In which case, this is the only way to explain what happened that day. And in any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the Crystal Tower. If the instantaneous kinesis didn't take place, how do you explain that? There's a plausible explanation, okay? There's always a plausible explanation. If I may put in a word as a man of magic myself, such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deception. Juror number 3. All that would be needed is a doppelganger, someone who looked very similar to the victim, Mr. Asman, and having this other man appear on stage to front the show as a body double. What is this, The Prestige? One of my favorite movies of all time? Yes, of course. So, in fact, Mr. Asman must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon right from the start.
Objection!
That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Anything hidden inside it would have been scattered to the 4 winds when it exploded. I mean, yeah, there would be a pink mist up in the sky. No one would ever have embarked on such a risky venture. Not necessarily. The explosive force of the balloon gas would very much depend on the mixture ratio. Juror number 4. Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases such as helium as well. Helium on its own doesn't explode, but by controlling the gas mixture ratio, the explosive force can be altered. The mixture ratio. Obviously, the victim's body would have suffered some burns. That would be unavoidable. But not to such an extent as to render this whole obscene charade impossible. Everyone's against Van Zieks right now. He believed this experiment to be a success with all his heart. He was rooting for his university friend. So everything that happened can be explained, logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident. It was all part of an elaborate deception, to make it appear that instantaneous kinesis had occurred.
Well, goodness me.
And if we accept that this is what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Asman, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with. Ugh. How did he get into the cage then? Was he just already there when they began their presentation? In short, he couldn't have been killed by the defendant, who was on stage in full view the entire time. Yes, but I think we're gonna just say that, well, Asman must have been killed earlier, and he's back on the table as a possible culprit. Ah! Yeah, I'm gonna keep my finger pointed at you. This will be very hard for the prosecution to counter. Lord Van Zieks can't credibly maintain that Professor Harebrain is a suspect now. Who's holding it? Why do they not have a voice? Why does Harebrain have a voice? Oh, Harebrain. Mr. Naruhodo, I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Professor? But you can stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please. Sorry? What's all this about, Mr. Harebrain? Explain yourself. Do you want to win this case? Do you want to survive? I, Albert Harebrain, hereby confess that it was me who stabbed Mr. Odie Asman. Yes, it was me, with my faithful friend and partner, Andrew the Screwdriver. It was me all along. Aha! Dude, what are you doing? What? What are you doing? Jesus! I'm working overtime here. This is my first case back. I need to make an impression.
Order! 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 Defendant, explain the sudden confession.
Objection!
No! I object. Don't explain. Professor Harebrain, what are you talking about? It's what I've said all along. I must protect my hypothesis and my precious machine.
What? You stand there and claim it was all a trick.
All an elaborate prank, but where's your proof? No, you'd have to examine the machine if you wanted to prove it. But then it would all be over. My beautiful hypothesis would be laid bare. I mean, the indignity of it. It's clear that you drew the plans for the experiment, but you didn't actually build it. It's quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor. If you'll just let me, I can prove... Barack! Yes. I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you say. I swear it. So please, ensure the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act is adhered to and protect my creation. Damn. He's surrendering just to protect his hypothesis. Well, he'll drink to that. Damn it. Why? Why did I agree to take this case on? Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice at this critical juncture. Here's to my learned Nipponese friend. What? And his upcoming attempt to clarify the defense's position in the light of the accused's confession. You son of a bitch, Fanzeeks. Way to rub it in. Do you intend to formally assert that the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? Because the moment you do, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the professor's invention will cease to apply. The prosecution will then demand a rigorous examination of the machinery involved in order to establish the truth. However, if you acknowledge that the machine is genuine and instrumental in the victim's murder, any chance of investigating will be crushed, and the confidentiality of the professor's hypothesis preserved.
Well, counsel, what is the defense's official position on this matter?
What Professor Hairbrain, my client, actually asked of me was to prove that the explosion on stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of his hypothesis. But there's no way to do that without implying the professor's guilt. Do I protect my client's life by asserting his innocence? Or do I uphold my client's request but see him condemned? Either way, I can't avoid betraying his trust. You've been silent long enough! Isn't talking your trade, my learned friend? Now, sometimes I review the court record for minutes on end, thank you very much. Whereas all knowledge of English escaped your confused Nipponese mind. Oh no! We've got the Phoenix in Despair animation playing. Mr. Naruhodo! There's no escape here. I have to make a choice, but it's an impossible one. I have to give up on something, but what? The defense asserts that the defendant's instantaneous kinesis machine was, in fact, a conjuring trick. I have to pursue the truth. Hey! I bit my tongue! Fuck! Give me a hello chalice, I need to drink some drink. No, I can't say it. My client placed his faith in me. I can't just let him down. What must I give up on is not the question you have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect? What? Hello again, Mr. Naruhodo. It's been far too long. What the fuck are you doing here, Susato? What the? I didn't even hear you come in. Did you slip in like a freaking ninja? Were you in the gallery? Just hopped over the balcony? Susato-san! But what are you? Well, she just Susato took me down. What are you doing? My first Susato takedown in 6 months. I love it. There'll be time to talk later, Mr. Naruhodo. For now, we must concentrate on the task at hand. Which is working out not what I have to give up on, but what I can protect. I'm back on my feet. I'm surprised you didn't just bloody get, like, held in contempt. Where's the bailiff at? I just got Susato. I mean, not that I want her escorted off the premises, but Jesus. Professor Hairbrain. Yes? Are you okay, Mr. Naruhodo? You look like you took quite a spill there. Yesterday you told... Where did she come from? What? No! Why? Why couldn't she have, like, a A Von Karma moment where she just like busts through the door like at the last second like a hero. No, she just turns up beside me like a freaking ghost. Yesterday you told me that science is the pursuit of truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too. Yes, of course. And personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Asman. I think you've come to realize something yourself too, haven't you? That your experiment and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. The truth behind that is what we must both pursue now. Ah! Oh, I won't be needing this anymore. So, you've finally opened your eyes. What? Is that a racist joke? And as for you, Albert, you can't ignore this any longer. Having heard my learned friend's assertion, don't you have something to say? Time to recant your confession. Barack. Lord Van Zeeks.
Gosh, I've never heard him speak that way before. In truth, there is one thing. Something I've remembered that's of relevance.
What?
On the day it happened, just before I began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. A man holding that crossbow.
I beg your pardon?
Oh my god. Who was it? Professor! Did the man have any distinguishing features? What did he look like?
Tall. Taller than me, and thinner than me, with straight hair, straighter, and wider than mine. Let me see. One less lens than me, too. A monocle. A rather stylish black monocle. But one thing in particular will help to positively identify the man, you see. I know him very well. After all, he's the engineer who built my invention.
What? He built the machine?
That's right. Mr. Asman introduced him to me a year ago. He's a man by the name of Enoch Drebber.
Enoch? Drebber?
Does this name mean something? Members of the jury seem flustered.
Not a name any scientist wishes to hear. That man's an abomination.
Not a name any conjurer wishes to hear either.
Who on earth is he? I'm afraid this isn't the first tale of this nature that I've heard in scientific circles in connection with that name. There's talk of other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but stage trickery in the end. Obviously, the rascal is after the government's research grant money. When magicians are in need of money, I have heard of them resorting to these underhand tactics. Some acquaintances of mine with experience of such things have mentioned Enoch Drebber's name before. The man is both an engineer and a magician. Yes, we're dealing with an unparalleled confidence trickster here. That's Enoch Drebber for you. Well, well. Who is this man? For a second, I thought we were about to describe Shelley Tequila with his monocle. Shelley Tequila's great-grandfather.
So it's true, then. My invention. My great machine. It was just a grand illusion.
Considering what we've just heard about Mr. Drebber's character, I'm sorry to say that sounds increasingly likely.
Even though no one else believed it, I wanted to. I wanted to believe that machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted.
Which is why you were so opposed to it being investigated, I presume.
I knew that if the machine was examined in detail, its construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen. But at the same time, I knew that if it was found to be nothing more than a trick, then a work of deception, then everything I'd worked towards, all my research, all my dreams, my whole life would be over.
No, you just have to start again.
I was terrified at the prospect.
So you really had no idea then, did you? About the true nature of the machine that was built, and the true nature of Mr. Drebber.
I never questioned anything. I didn't want to question it.
It's entirely possible that Mr. Asman and Mr. Drebber We're working together to use you as a means of fraudulently acquiring the research grant money.
When I announced my invention to the crowds that day, it was the finest moment of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Drebber had described. When the smoke suddenly started bellowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. But I really don't know how the whole illusion was made to work. I don't know anything anymore. Oh, hairbrain. I'm sorry, pal. It was too good to be true.
Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. Do you now consent to the prosecution submitting the necessary paperwork to release your invention from the protection afforded by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act?
Yes. Please go ahead. I'm very sorry.
Whew. It would appear that we shall have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day now. I'm hungry for dinner. Lord Van Zieks!
My lord.
The court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical.
Yes, Mr. Drebber.
Gather information about the man. If possible, I should like him served with a subpoena.
With pleasure, my lord.
Now, counsel for the defense.
Yes, my lord.
You need to learn some self-defense. My goodness, your assistant constantly bullies you. When we reconvene, I shall be looking for one thing and one thing alone from you. Evidence that the defendant is innocent of the crime for which he is presently stands accused.
I understand.
Good. In that case, this court is adjourned until tomorrow morning.
Okay, now, Susato, let's catch up on what the hell you've been doing. Whew. 23rd October, 1:36 p.m. Wow, still early. The Old Bailey. Defendant's antechamber.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes?
I'm so sorry. I was wrong. You were right. I tricked you. You trusted me. I dragged you into my mess. Oh, how did it ever come to this? I'm so sorry.
Did you really have no idea, Professor? About what Mr. Drebber was really up to, I mean? About what he was really constructing?
Naturally. That machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis, of all my hopes and dreams. I had complete faith in it.
Alright. In that case, I won't say any more. Now, sadly, the murder accusation against you still stands, so we must do as much investigation as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow.
Well, thank you for doing so much for me.
You're welcome. You!
I'm so sorry for arriving this late this morning, Mr. Naruhodo.
Arriving late?
Didn't you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know when I'd arrive.
Postcard? What postcard?
I hid it from you, Rene, so it'd be a surprise.
I will punt you back to the Crystal Tower, okay?
Well, did it work?
I was surprised, alright, especially when she threw me to the ground.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again that it sort of slipped out.
Maybe we could stick to more traditional displays of emotion in future, especially in a courtroom. Love having you back, Susato. Welcome back.
Susie's train was late into London Victoria this morning, you see. But we made the coachman really whip the horses hard so she didn't miss the whole trial.
Well, she got the ass end of it, at least.
I was watching from the gallery for a while. But in the end, I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Oh?
Having you at my side in court gives me the strength I need to win. You're my trophy. You're my good luck charm. So I'm, delighted to see you. Back in London.
Oh, you're too kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm delighted to be here. I hope I can continue to be of service to you.
Of course. So, what's brought you back? Did Professor Mikatoba not protest?
Let's save all the conversation for when we're back at home, shall we? You know, I made one of my most special blends ever for this special occasion. Oh, Iris, how wonderful. I can't wait.
The trial's not over yet, guys. I'm still on the clock.
Oh boy.
Still, I do want to set aside some time to celebrate.
Susato-san was back in London.
It's hard to describe how happy that made me feel at the time. But despite my elation, our tale was about to take yet another extraordinary turn. An extraordinary turn, you say? What else awaits us? Oh boy. Surely that wax figure's gonna come into play at some point, too. Lots of moving parts still to be discerned.